friends. Up in the hills where the party never ends. Your schemes and your dreams when you're whole and you're broken. I'm telling all about it in my words unspoken.
Welcome to Words Unspoken, The Hills podcast.
We are two Southern sisters rewatching The Hills and chatting about it for your entertainment.
I'm Susan, and I'm a 30-something photographer.
I'm Jem, and I need a drink.
Jem.
Susan.
Guess what?
What?
We have a special guest with us tonight.
What?
We would like to welcome Adam Rucker to the show.
Oh, hey, Adam.
Hey, guys. Can I just say, this is one of the most exciting moments, if not for sure my week, if not the month, if not the year. The fact that there is a podcast called Words Unspoken, it's unbelievable. So me and my best friend Emily, we talk about The Hills all the time.
Emily, we love you.
If someone doesn't reference The Hills when I see Emily, it's like, are you okay? Something's wrong? Feeling okay? So when we found this podcast, I was like, there's a podcast called Words Unspoken. First, we were mad because we didn't think of ourselves.
Right. You were jealous. We get it.
But then we were happy. So I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Susan, I was wondering why there was this handsome guy on your computer screen. I just didn't know what was happening.
I know. And I'm just going to introduce him to everyone now. You can find Adam on his YouTube channel, AJ Ruck, visiting the Disney parks with his friends or exploring cities around the country during his frequent travels. He's an LC through and through, though he likes to think he's a little bit low, too.
Yeah, for sure.
There needs to be a shirt that says keep it low. Like LO. Hello.
Need it. And I bought, my friend Emily that I was talking about, I bought her the book, The Low Down, which is Low's book. So it's like everyone needs a little bit low in their life. Just like the show. Like every once in a while you're like, where's Low? We need Low. And then she pops up right when you need her.
She will be there for us today, I have no doubt.
Yeah, always a little low is always good. Well, today we're going to be discussing episode 3 of season 3, Truth in Time Tells All.
Oh, the ultimate moment of my life. I've been waiting for this.
This is an exciting moment for me. When y'all asked me to do this episode, I'm gonna let you start, but this is great. Justin Bobby. And I have to say, on my way here to the studio to record, I was doing, some background research, and I saw that y'all literally talked to Justin Bobby. You touched on it a little bit after the interview that 10 years ago, this would have blown your mind. But what was that like?
Should we tell the truth about the Justin Bobby interview?
Absolutely.
I think this is a good time to do it because we're all best friends now. So his people reached out to us, which was very exciting. I know. Your face says it all.
I'm gasping. You can't see it, but I just covered my mouth.
And they were like, would you like to interview Justin and, help promote his tour and blah, blah, blah. And I wrote back a very formal, yes, we are available between the hours of 10 and 2 on Saturday. And then Susan and I called each other, and I was in my car, and we were on Bluetooth, literally screaming at one another for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Incoherently.
It was pretty amazing to talk to him. The instant his voice came over the phone, luckily we did not do a video.
Oh, thank God.
On purpose,
yes.
Because we were freaking out and shrieking.
We kept looking at each other.
Silently shrieking. It was amazing just to hear his voice. And he was so amazing. He was so cool.
He was awesome.
He was everything you would think.
Say, as a listener, y'all kept it together really well. I was like, wow, they're really they sound like this is just every other day. They talk to Justin Bobby on the phone, but I figured y'all were very, very much losing it.
Yeah. We definitely were.
When we hung up.
I really wanted to put the end of our phone call after we had hung up at the end of the episode, but she wouldn't let me.
It was too embarrassing.
It was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, fair.
But here we are recreating it.
I know.
So it's out
might
there.
As well.
Did you guys notice in the previously on, Lauren says, sometimes the baddest boys are the hardest to stay away from.
Isn't that the truth?
Preach
so true.
I mean, there's so many quotable moments. It's amazing she doesn't have just a book of Lauren quotes. Lauren Wisdom. I wrote several down from this episode coming up.
Cannot wait.
I feel like everyone in the Hills is quotable. Mm-hmm. Well, quite a few people, not everyone.
Not everyone.
But
Audrina. Maybe maybe not.
Anyway, let's talk about the episode.
Okay, Susan.
We start off at the Hillside Villas, and the girls are chatting about Justin.
Audrina's 22 and has never been in a real relationship, and LC is completely shocked.
LC's like, I've been in like 20 serious relationships in my lifetime. I don't think LC's been in anything except serious relationship.
That could be the problem.
I think that's the Laguna way, is to just get serious and get moving. You know, on Laguna Beach, those kids were like, we've got to get out of this dump. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, the dump of Laguna Beach?
Talk about privileged. Lauren tells Audrina, go with your gut, but use your head.
I mean, more genius.
You stole the note right out of my phone.
I'm so sorry, Adam.
Did it on purpose.
To rewind and say, what did she say?
Was it that amazing? You know what, though, guys? I will rarely veer from my love and adoration for Lauren for 1 second, and I think you're thinking the same thing, Susan, by the look on your face. Lauren, I think, is a little bit overbearing with her friends' relationships.
Agreed.
I would agree. I think she's the type where if she's not in her own, really good relationship, I don't think she maybe knows it, but she's secretly maybe kind of sabotaging, her other friends just so they can all just like hang out and be fun.
100%. I'm glad that we're all in agreement on that, and that you didn't like leap through the computer at us from Texas. Is that where you are right now?
I'm in Dallas, Texas,
okay.
And I wouldn't leap because, I think we've all been there. Mm-hmm. I think Lauren's not doing anything that one of us, perhaps, might have felt or done in the past.
Or all three of us.
Lauren is a little bit of all of us.
Well, there was the time that I told Susan's boyfriend I was going to cut him up with a chainsaw.
Okay.
I don't remember it. And we've talked about it on the show before, so I'm not afraid to bring it up. But I have no memory of it, but it was like, I was protective.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Like, it was that emotionally deep that you don't even remember. Yeah.
And I'm not a very dramatic person, so I don't know why that happened.
Yes, you are dramatic. Don't lie. So then we head to Bolt House.
Yes.
Heidi struts in the office because that's what you do when you have a giant rock on your finger.
Mm-hmm. You know what, though? She was still wearing the overly long bootcut jeans and the flops and doing her little, like, wiggly Heidi walk.
She definitely had holes in her jeans.
Bless. And not like the fun kind.
No, they weren't the fun
like
kind.
The 2008
They were like
kind.
the ripped up kind. Elodie immediately spots the ring. Like, Heidi didn't really even have to flash it around. She spotted that rock. She's like, what is that?
Elodie, can I just say something about Elodie? What I will say is, this is exactly what I wrote down. Elodie is such an innocent bystander in all of this. But then right after that, as that scene went on, I said, but she's completely complicit.
What?
Didn't we just say that?
We literally just.
Oh my gosh!
Said
Are you
that.
serious?
Recorded yesterday
About
this is the second
Oh my
time.
gosh.
Okay,
We're
this
soulmates.
Let's talk about why you're on the podcast. It's because we had just recorded an episode talking about that dramatic scene where they're moving out of the apartment, and she looks in the rearview mirror, and we talked about what a beautiful, like, whatever it was you said we had just said.
Shot. I said, did the person who set up the shot win an Emmy? Like,
Yes.
That's what it
that
was.
had happened.
And we had just said that in our episode, but it had not aired yet.
And you had said the exact same thing we said.
For the listeners, we're talking about when Lauren is standing outside the apartments and Heidi is driving off looking in the rear view mirror or in the side mirror of the U-Haul.
Totally iconic.
On Nick. So Elodie, I think, I'm like, that poor girl, she's totally innocent in this. But then as I kept watching, I was like, no, she had the opportunity to stop this.
Yeah.
She had the opportunity to talk some sense into Heidi, and she didn't do it. And even if she tried, she didn't do a good job.
And in this episode, she actually said it even less than she normally does, because a lot of times she will say things like, are you sure you want to be with him? Or things like that. She'll come right on and say it. But in this episode, she was very complicit because she did not really express very much concern about her getting engaged at all. Right. This is very alarming to me.
She just said, take a long engagement, look at all the books. I'm like,
but that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
I think this was also officially the first use of OMG on national television in 2008.
In 2008.
Oh, you're willing to go that far?
I'm willing to go that far. I don't think anyone like spelled it out. Maybe Whitney was the first to do it, actually. But I don't know. Anyway, Elodie, I think, is sick of telling Heidi what she thinks she should do. And she just finally gave in and was like, okay, I'll just go along with this at this point because you're ignoring all my advice. Where's Brent Bolthouse, y'all? Why isn't he there?
He is making deals. He is representing the agency. He's Bolthouse.
He's Bolthousing.
You know what I did think was really funny about this scene is when Elodie does ask Heidi, are you pregnant?
Shade.
Yeah, a little bit of shade that
Like,
she's
that's
stuck in there.
Valid concern.
Only reason you're getting married, Heidi.
And then we go to one of my favorite scenes where Spencer and Brody are shopping.
Oh my god.
Let me stop you right there. I don't even want to get. We have to acknowledge that this scene is almost unwatchable because of their clothing.
Go on.
It was so bad. I wrote down Brody's baggy pants. That's all I wrote down.
And his shirt says B Squad.
I'm just thinking, like, Brody is too attractive for this.
Right?
Like, how it hasn't even been that long for fashion to evolve, which it has, but for that far of a fall for Brody, it was startling. Sorry, go on.
It was really sad.
Yeah, it was sad. And then they start talking about buying board shorts, and I'm like, do those still exist? You're a boy, you tell us. We don't know things about boys' clothes.
Yeah, board shorts exist for bros like that.
Well, we always know that Brody puts the bro in Brody. Dang it! Brody is the bro in Brody. No,
You can never,
I can never
get
say
that
this right. I can never do it right.
Oh, well.
Some other time, perhaps.
Some other time.
So yeah, the shopping is just horribly painful. And also, you mentioned their outfits, Adam. Spencer has on some like stunna shades that have like gold situations on either side, and that wasn't such a good look either.
So Brody says he's almost scared to ask how Santa Barbara went, and he's just like, okay, I'm only concerned about the bachelor party. I don't even care. I've scolded you enough. But he's just like, you can tell he's like, this guy's a nut. Like, who in the world wants to get married when they're 23 to someone they've only dated a year, which is ridiculous.
But look who was the smart one in the end. They're still together.
I know. Now, watching that episode last night, I was like, how wrong we were.
We were.
You
This
know,
is true.
like, but I wonder, was it like the power of literally everyone in the entire world being against you? Is that what came together to make this work? Like, is that what it took?
It was an invisible force of many tabloids that like bonded them for life. Interesting. That's an interesting theory. I think that we should write a book about it, and like Oprah can talk about it wherever she talks now, and it will become very famous.
Next, we head to Teen Vogue, and Whitney and Lauren are chatting.
So Whitney is laughing about Justin Bobby the entire time she's talking about him, and she says he's a good-looking guy, but looks can only take you so far. And they talk about him abandoning Audrina in Vegas. Whitney, y'all, is laughing this entire time. Like, Justin Bobby seems to elicit some hilarity wherever he goes, and I never noticed that before until we chatted with our friend Justin Bobby on the show, and he told us that he was hilariously funny, and all of his funniness ended up on the cutting room floor. So I think he makes people laugh. Like, Whitney's just like laughing the whole time.
And she hasn't even met him yet.
No.
But I also think that Lo, when she coined his name, Justin Bobby, kind of set himself up to never be taken seriously.
It's so true.
Agreed, and I think he knew that too, because that's why I think he doesn't like the name.
So he doesn't like being called Justin Bobby, but his band is called Bobby Rock.
Bobby Rock.
And y'all introduced him as Justin What's-His-Face. But he doesn't like the combination of the two.
He's a man so great he needed two names.
Well, I think his first name is Justin, his middle name is Bobby.
I think
so it's not like it's not his name.
And I think his dad is Robert, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a family name.
Okay. I love Justin Bobby. Can I ask y'all a question?
Yes, you can.
Just about how you approach The Hills as a cinematic experience. Are we operating under the philosophy that everything that was depicted on The Hills happened? Or are we open to acknowledging that some things were maybe not quite as they seem?
Yes. When we first started the show, we did a little disclaimer saying we know that the majority of this isn't real. A lot of it it as fake, but we're going to go off of the assumption where we're not going to say every time we think something is fake, we're not going to like talk it to death about it being fake, because we are acknowledging that it is. But it is okay to acknowledge that it is fake, if that makes sense.
You're totally allowed.
So, okay, I have a piece of juice that I don't think anyone else has.
Tell us.
Are you about to Perez us?
I'm willing to share it if y'all are willing to accept that one of your favorite moments might be altered forever in your mind.
We're willing to accept
we're
that.
definitely
We've had
willing.
moments like that before, so we're ready.
Okay, so I can't reveal my source, but I can say that it is, what is the phrase?
Reliable?
What is the term? It is 100% reliable. So we got to go back in time to season 1. Lauren, working at Teen Vogue, makes the decision, or actually, I guess the beginning of season 2, Lauren makes the decision not to go to Paris. One of the most iconic quotations about that happening, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready?
I'm scared.
Didn't happen. What?
Oh my God.
Let me explain.
Wait.
Someone who worked at Teen Vogue let me know when I found out this person worked at Teen Vogue. I was like, tell me everything. Everything. Did they really work there? And the person was like, yeah, they really worked there. They had kind of odd jobs that were kind of made especially for them, but they did come to work and they did complete tasks. Said, okay, what else can you tell me? And this person was like, well, you know how Lisa Love has that moment where she's talking to Lauren and says she'll always be known as the girl who didn't go to Paris. And I said, yes, the most, quotable, brilliant moment in the whole show. And she said, that conversation didn't happen.
I don't understand.
Like it was recorded separately?
That scene was filmed separately. Lisa Love was saying that to a producer, which is why she says it in the third person.
What? That is amazing. Scoop.
Adam just broke Words Unspoken Hills podcast and the internet.
Like, I wonder if anyone else has this. And Entertainment Tonight did a special where they revisited, some of the people because of the anniversary. And they say about that quote, we reached out to Lisa Love, who did not respond with any comment. And I was like, gosh. Yeah, because she knows it didn't happen.
And so they just cut it together to make it look like she was saying it to Lauren, but she was saying it to a producer.
Right. The producer
pretty much making fun of her, really.
Right. The producer's saying, what would you say to Lauren if she was here for choosing not to go to Paris? And she said, well, I would say she'll always be known as the girl who didn't go to Paris.
That's amazing.
Lisa Love, you know what you did. You know what you did, Lisa Love.
And then Lauren, Lauren's sitting there and her face, y'all can't see it listening, but she just goes...
Yeah, just kind of like
a
looks
little,
awkward.
like, shrug. Yeah. Like, she doesn't interject, doesn't respond. So, anyways, but because of the finale, the way the finale happened,
it's okay.
I am okay with that existing because they acknowledged, there was an open acknowledgement that some things in Hollywood aren't always as they seem.
Wait, what?
Well, yeah, if you think a reality show is all real, I mean, come on. I know some people do, but it's like...
When The Hills was on, this was sort of a new concept to us. When they would say, like, Heidi and Spencer were seen at LAX dropping one of the other off and then immediately picking the other up, you're like, wait, what? Like, that was a new concept that something could be staged specifically for reality TV.
And now it's just like every day with a Kardashian.
And now it's just like the Kardashians are pretending they're out of the country when they're really in a backlot.
Yeah.
It's all sort of nonsense. But that moment was just...
Wow.
That was... And I was working at the time, so I had to take several hours...
Did you need to take a PTO day?
to myself and just say, guys, my world has been rocked. The way I thought things were is no longer. I need to adjust. So
it just changed your entire worldview.
It did. It certainly did. And, I made several phone calls after that event occurred.
Yeah, urgent calls. Like,
obviously.
Drop everything. I've got something to tell you, and it's about Lisa Love.
Times, so it's an emergency kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. Like texting 911 to people, the whole nine.
Well, there's no need to talk about anything else.
No.
I think that made our podcast.
No, there's nowhere else to go. Okay, the Hills podcast file is canceled. This is our final episode. This was our grand finale. Adam, surprise. There's no need to move on.
You broke our podcast.
Broke the podcast. Bye, y'all. Oh, bye, y'all.
Okay, let's head to Heidi and Spencer's apartment, where Heidi finds out that Spencer has bought some vintage video games to complete the decoration of the apartment.
Oh.
Well, I was like, why are these two even on the show at this point? It was such a weird plot line, but so Spencer to just unilaterally decide that his home is going to become an arcade of all things.
And I love how she's like, there's an insect on the side. He's like, oh, don't worry, the insect is going to be covered by lethal enforcer. Like, that should reassure her.
That.
I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means? We don't know.
We don't. I don't speak Spencer's
Yeah, we don't know things like this.
Heidi just doesn't even stand up for herself and be like, dude, stop doing this. Like, stop making our apartment a bachelor pad because you're not a bachelor anymore.
Well, she did that Heidi face.
Yeah.
You know, that face where she's just like, really? I'm not going to argue, but really? I'm so shocked that you did this.
Yeah. We didn't plan this all day today. And then she says, let's get a table. And he's like, yeah, a pool table.
I think he specifically said foosball, which is a step worse.
That's even worse.
The most irritating...
At least the pool table, you could set things on flat.
You could eat off of a pool table.
It has those little soccer guys.
You can't do anything on there. I think Spencer was watching Friends or something.
Oh, he wanted to be like Joey's apartment.
He wanted to make it as Joey and Chandler.
He wanted to wear apartment pants. Shout out to Hallie and Seth. Hey, apartment pants.
So then, let's just go ahead and head to dinner with Justin, Audrina, and Lauren.
Y'all, JB has been very sick, and he doesn't know what is wrong with him, but he has been sick, and he has been lying around all day. He's in his hoodie, and I just want to know, why can't I look that good when I'm sick?
He looks good. He looks good all the time.
He's just like a handsome,
He never
sick
doesn't
person.
look good.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
He's extremely, extremely handsome, which again, I'm glad we did not video chat with him. I mean, Adam's more handsome than Justin Bobby.
Obviously.
Which I was not prepared for. Side note, somebody on this podcast that is a boy has a beautiful singing voice.
What? Who?
His name is Adam, and I was looking at his YouTube channel, watching him duet on an Alicia Keys cover, and I was filled with emotions, which I don't normally feel in life. And I was like, this is so beautiful. You are harmonizing. What is this all about? Tell us about your singing.
Oh, thank you. That was a song I did with my friend Megan, who's amazing. I have just sung for a long time. So like before Glee was Glee, we like that
you
was
were
my
Glee.
entire high school experience.
Aww.
So it's like every day I had 3 or 4 choir classes where we just sang.
Wow.
One can tell. One can tell that you're well trained.
So, well, thank you. But I loved it. It was so much fun. And so I still sing now, sometimes on YouTube and other places. But yeah, that's the whole sum of that. Always on Saturday nights in my own apartment. You can hear any number of things, including but not limited to selections from the TV show Smash.
Susan.
I love Smash so much.
I know I've kept you waiting. Yeah, don't play that part because that was not good. But you know, like
we will.
Anytime a good song comes on, we'll perform it here in my living room.
So Justin is being like normal for a sick person, I would say. He's being a little rude.
And Elsie comes rolling in with that motherly attitude that made me a little uncomfortable. What about y'all?
I couldn't stand when she started saying all that stuff about the motorcycle. Now be careful, you have precious cargo. And I rarely find fault with Lauren. I really don't. But that irritated me. I'm like, you're not Audrina's mother. Calm down. She was being way too harsh, I thought.
Well, I will say the burping was a lot.
Oh, no, that was unacceptable.
The burping was a lot for a new I don't particularly like when people burp around me and I know them well, but especially when it's a new introduction, I'd prefer not to be around that. But I wrote down, I'm Lauren in this scene for sure. So, and I don't take offense to y'all saying you were upset at her in the scene. I'm tough to meet. I'm going to be honest, you guys. Like, I'm usually sitting there like...
Judging?
Impress me. No, not judging, but just being like, if you're going to burp in my face, I have the right to tell you I'm not okay with it.
No, that was definitely not acceptable. I'm definitely not condoning that. But at that point, he was just trying to make her mad. I think he was just trying to do anything he could. Like, he was being super rude, but I just couldn't stand how she kept coming in and saying, yeah, she just was a little condescending, I thought. So.
And I loved how...
I don't particularly like when people are overly motherly either, especially when you're like, we're the same age, stop. Like, I don't need you to tell me to be careful with so-and-so or blah, blah, blah. So I agree there. It was a little much.
I think they just got off on the wrong foot, for sure.
Well, I don't think she was ever going to give him a chance, to be honest, because first of all, that's what happens when you tell your friends about all the horrible things a guy has done to you, and then you try to go back and date him. Number one, you've usually bashed him yourself, and then they're like, oh, guess what? We're back together, and you're like, oh, great. I said a lot of terrible things about him, and now they're back together, so then you have to pretend to like them. It happens all the time.
It just happened to me today with one of my guy friends. Like, he's back with his girlfriend, and now I'm like, well, all those Bitmojis I sent you for the past 3 months, I hope you forgot about them. All that really rude stuff I said about her.
It does make it tough.
And I love how he burps, and Audrina's like, excuse you, mister, and gives Lauren that look like, it's all funny and hilarious. And Lauren's like, no. She's just like, her face shuts it down.
And then the worst part, which I personally feel was even worse than the burping, was when he thought it would be really funny to make up the story about how he's secretly in love with Lauren, but he's just trying to get to her through Audrina. And I think he said that honestly because someone either said that to him or maybe even Audrina accused him of that. There was a little underlying tone in that. Justin Bobby is very much like, I don't care about this dumb reality show. I'm just on it. Like, I'm doing you a favor by being on it.
Too cool for school.
Yes. And he was saying that because someone has either said that to him or he knows that someone might say that kind of stuff. There was something there that we didn't get.
Do you want to know what I thought about it?
Sure.
I thought it was a hilarious joke.
No, he meant it that way, and I thought Lauren took it too seriously.
Yeah, like, I thought it was hilarious. But she went.
But I also think someone said that to him.
What do you think, Adam?
I'm kind of on the side of thinking that he was making light of something that he heard someone say or that he thought someone might say, because a lot of people said the same about Spencer, just trying to get on the show. Didn't he try to date Audrina?
He did. He
originally.
Dated, yeah. Remember Heidi had to check her calendar to see if she and Audrina were with Spencer on the same day. She had to look in her planner.
So I feel like he was probably thinking like, oh, someone's going to say I'm just either trying to get on the show or trying to get to Lauren because she was the most famous at the time.
Lauren did not like that at all. I think it was over. Like, he never had a chance after that at all. Not at all. That was it. She was just like, oh, I'm done with you. That made her very mad. So then we head back to the Hillside Villas, and Lauren and Audrina are poolside chatting about the Justin Bobby conversation that happened the night before.
And they're like, I'm so tired. I could just take a nap right here. Oh my gosh, me too. I'm so tired. But they cannot nap because they are working, laying poolside.
Right, exactly. And they probably had a long time while that shot was getting set up to just sit there. So I'm like, you guys, this gig is not hard.
No, it really is not.
Sit and chat about your horrible date the night before.
Just look cute in your swimsuits.
Lauren says, I doubt anyone thinks when they see Justin Bobby, oh, there goes a gentleman. I thought that was very mean.
That was kind of mean. Like,
don't judge someone by their outward appearance, Lauren. I feel like she is a huge snob about Justin Bobby, and that bothers me probably more than anything that she does, that she's very condescending towards him and like looks down on him. And I don't think it's all because he left Audrina in Vegas, which apparently didn't really even happen. But anyway, yeah.
Are we just blowing bombshells up all over the place
Susan,
on this episode?
What is this information?
I don't have a source for that off the top of my head, but I definitely read somewhere, and I think it was Justin who said that never happened. They manufactured that.
Maybe our friend Justin texted that to me.
Oh, I'll text him later and ask him.
He sent me a kissy face emoji, and I was excited.
He did.
Lauren didn't know that come season 5, Justin was going to cut his hair and be given a very nice wardrobe and look really nice on that show.
Season 5, Justin, white, good looking.
I prefer dirty season 3 JB. That's kind of my jam.
Not me. I love the clean cut Justin when I'm like, oh, ooh, so hot.
I just like a man that does both. So
he can just pull off any look. I mean, he's a handsome guy.
Both very well.
Hey, you guys, have we mentioned that Justin Bobby's really hot?
I don't think so. We haven't talked about that at all.
Has that come up?
So then we head to Pinkberry, and you guys, this was when there wasn't pink berries everywhere.
I thought the same thing when I saw this scene. Like, I haven't watched this since it aired. So watching last night, I was like, yes, we didn't have, that was the first time I saw Pinkberry.
It was probably the first one.
And I remember like telling, I think my brother or my sister, we all watched, being like, what is Pinkberry? And like thinking it was this cool thing we needed to try next time we went to LA. And now like we have Pinkberry in Dallas and no one cares. But I remember thinking like, and Froyo, just in general.
Yeah, it was not a thing.
We could only go to like TCBY.
It was TCBY or like hopefully, you know, someone like some buffet restaurant where had like
the Western Sizzlin', the Ryans.
Yeah, had like a soft serve machine, but a store just for Froyo and mixins? Nah.
Like Fruity Pebbles, which is what Lo had, which is what I ate the last time I was at Susan's house.
I still have Fruity Pebbles.
I can't wait to eat them tonight.
I'm sure that's what you'll be having for breakfast.
It'll be my late night snack. I was very distracted by Lo's oversized snakeskin hoop earrings. Y'all.
I didn't even notice them because it was just, everything was Lo. At this whole scene, I'm just drawn to Lo. And I wrote down my favorite quote, which I don't know if y'all wrote this down. You might not have caught it. She says, Wednesday? I guess she's like asking like how her week went. She goes, what was yesterday? Wednesday? Ledoux?
I missed that.
Yeah, I heard that.
Lost it. She was like basically asking like, Lauren, what did you do last night? Let's see, last night was Wednesday. So were you at Ledoux?
Oh my gosh,
I just had a flood of flashbacks of when all this show was about Ledoux and all LA was about Ledoux. Allegedly, you know, people in LA are like, we never went to Ledoux. But I just like hearing that phrase, which Ledoux does not exist anymore.
R.I.P. Ledoux, single tear.
It's so nice that this time capsule exists to remind us of things like Ledoux.
Thank you for pointing that out, because I totally missed that.
That's the beauty of the hills. It really is. It really is a time capsule of this one shining moment in time that just doesn't exist anymore.
And a very unfortunate time in fashion, I might add. So we'll never forget that.
So during the course of this Pinkberry date, Lauren decides she doesn't want to work out, as one would do after eating Pinkberry.
Or every day if you're me.
So she calls Audrina to bail and finds out that Audrina's going to meet Justin Bobby. So clearly she's going to give him another chance. I mean, who wouldn't? Let's be honest.
But then Lauren says, I can't do another roommate with a sucky boyfriend. It's Lauren's worst insult. You're a sucky person.
You're a sucky person. He's a sucky person. So then we head to Charcoal, and Justin Bobby and Audrina are having a dramatic meeting. They're going to talk about the state of the relationship. It's State of the Union of Justin, Bobby, and Audrina.
And JB, what are you wearing and what is your hair right now? I don't care. I love you.
I thought he looked hot in plaid.
Total flannel shirt, big hair. Like, he probably had not showered in like 40 weeks. He looked like Jesus wandering in the desert.
He did apologize, though, for the awkward dinner, which I thought was good, that he took a little bit of responsibility, unlike other males in the show whose names are Spencer.
I liked the setup of this scene because it placed Justin Bobby on what appeared to be either a swivel chair or a swivel bar stool. So it gave motion to an otherwise, let's be honest, a scene with just Audrina and one other person is a drag.
It's quite stilted. It's stilted. So he had to do the stool spin to make it exciting.
We need movement. And so I was grateful that there was like movement around and he's, you know, moving his hands through his hair and swiveling on the stool and releasing these pearls of wisdom into the world, which hearing y'all's interview with him was so, it was just like the click, everything came together. I was like, this is a person who, like us, probably talks to himself a lot in the car while he's on tour, of course. So
in the van.
I was soaking up all of this wisdom and it all made a lot of sense. Because when you're watching it on the show, we've only seen you 2 episodes now, right? 2 episodes. So when you're watching, you're like, who is this guy? Why does he think he needs to anoint us with these phrases? But now it all makes sense.
Now we appreciate him and his wisdom and his different outlook on life. It didn't make it into the final cut, thanks Susan, but we did tell him, we were joking about him being like kind of a Zen motivational speaker and how he would do better than Tony Robbins. He could go around the country motivating people. I just love all of his phrases, like be cool and enjoy the company and have fun and look beyond it all. I take you for who you are and the heart that you have, and I don't let anyone interfere with that.
Now, I don't know if y'all are y'all Housewives fans at all?
I'm Sometimes,
No.
yes. It depends on the city.
He reminds me a little bit of a lady I like to call, and everyone likes to call because it's her name, Luann from New York.
You mean the only title I would trade Countess for is wife?
Wife, yeah. So she, on a couple seasons ago, she says, "Be cool, don't be all uncool."
Yes!
And when she said that, I was like, that's a Justin Bobby phrase.
It's a
like,
total
Justin Bobby would say, "Don't be all uncool," but it would sound wisdomy.
Okay, Adam, you're even more of a soulmate than I imagined, because I just said that line to someone yesterday. I was like, "Be cool, don't be all uncool," yesterday. And I thought that I was quoting Philip Seymour Hoffman from Almost Famous, but he's saying, "I'm always home, I'm uncool." It was the Countess I was quoting.
You were quoting the Countess, yeah.
Thank you for bringing that full circle in the past 24 hours. This is kind of scary.
You're welcome.
You might be on every show from now on. I mean, who knows what other... Lauren wasn't a real person. She was a fembot, baby. I mean, what's next?
We're not even done, but I would love to come back, and Emily can come sometime. Emily we seriously, like, you two are us two, so.
Yay, we love you already, Emily, even though we haven't met you. We can't wait. And now, Susan and Adam, we come to maybe the greatest moment of all time on The Hills, or any reality show for that matter. And why don't we let our special guest, Adam, say the line? Do the honors, Adam.
Truth in time tells all.
That is one of the best lines ever, because he just says it so effortlessly.
It just flows.
And it's iconic.
And it's what's so great about it is it functions in several ways. One way, it's a total deferral. He's not giving her an answer at all to what she wants to know, which is like, is this serious? Are we going to make this work? Truth in time tells all is...
It's ambiguous.
That doesn't tell me anything. That's great, but I would love to know, like, what are we, like, doing this? Well, truth in time tells all. So I love that, but it also does sound really smart, and it's true.
It is true, and it can apply to any situation.
It really
is true. Truth and time does tell all.
It's so true.
I say it all the time. My brother and I exchange this phrase frequently.
That's amazing.
Still.
That's amazing.
And why shouldn't you?
I mean, it really is.
It holds
awesome.
up. We should have asked him to say it for us on the show, but
we were trying to be cool.
We were trying to be
not
like
trying to be too Hills fangirly.
Yeah. You know what I noticed for the first time is a very overlooked moment in the Truth in Time Tells All scene is that when he says that, Audrina raises a glass and says, "Cheers to truth and time."
I wrote that down.
I love it.
Says, okay, so here's to truth and time. And you're like, what? Why did she buy that?
Adam, you have got to go to the Instagram account of a user named Olive Garden Breadsticks with an X. She does the best, I'll send it to you. She does the best Audrina impression you have ever seen. You will cry with laughter, and it's hilarious.
It's
and
so funny.
Hey, Olive Garden Breadsticks, we love you.
So then we head to Spidey's apartment, and Spencer walks in, and Heidi is painting over his gorgeous Hollywood mural.
Not the tagging.
So all I have to say, I've already said it at the beginning, I think that this whole storyline is just dumb, but that the fact that they want us to believe that Heidi got in the car and went to Home Depot and bought a paint roller brush and pans and either went to the apartment complex to get the correct color from them or just got it.
Some swatches.
The fact that we're to believe that she appeared with all of this stuff on her own and just started painting, I'm like, I couldn't even, but 10 years ago I was like, that girl is so great. She's doing exactly what I would do. But now I'm watching like, she didn't do that. She does not know how to go to Home Depot and get any of the other ones on the show. Lauren would have done it. Lo would have done it. But Heidi, I'm like,
No, there's no way Heidi's going to do that kind of manual labor. And you see she stops as soon as Spencer comes in, and then he starts like finishing it with a sad look on his face, like, oh, my beautiful mural. But you're right. There's no way Heidi had anything to do with that.
Adam and Susan, how wise we have grown in the past 10 years. How wise are we?
You learn and you grow, and we thank where we came from, and we look forward to where we're going.
Justin, Bobby, is that you?
I think so.
So quotable. As the episode ends, we hear another song from Val Emmett.
Val Emmett!
Yay!
our favorite singer-songwriter of our generation.
We're so excited to hear another song. This was like his 4th or 5th song it's been on. I'm shocked every time. I knew his music was on here, but I'm surprised at how many songs there's been. And Val was just at my house earlier this summer playing a private show for us, which was awesome. And Jem and I wanted to have him on the podcast, but unfortunately we didn't really have time.
We were having a lot of beverages, so
That's
we got a little distracted.
I didn't want to say that. I was like, no, we were having beverages, so I'm like, we don't care about the podcast now. But we are going to try to get him on the show at some point because we'd love to hear about how his music got on there and the story behind that.
And he's been on TV. He was on Ugly Betty, 30 Rock. Like, you know who he is, Adam. You'd recognize him. But to all of our listeners out there, Sunlight Search Party is the album with this song, If They Come Again. And it is literally my favorite album that I own that was made in, like, my lifetime. No hyperbole.
Also, check out his book, The Reminders. It's an amazing book. And he did a little reading for us when he was here. And because he's an actor, it was so awesome. Like, he did such a good job. So you won't be able to hear him read it to you, but you should definitely check out the book. It's really good. And there's lots of Beatles references in there.
Which is my favorite band of all time. But that's another story for another day.
I love this episode.
I love this episode, too.
Of the show or of the podcast?
Both.
Both,
Okay,
obviously.
good.
So, Adam, we'd love to hear some of your general thoughts about the Hills because you were like a fount of knowledge, and I'm sure you have lots of thoughts. So we'd love to hear any other thoughts you have on the Hills before we close out the podcast.
Well, I love that y'all just touched on the music because what I was going to say is that the music is another part of that time capsule that we find with the show. It's so unbelievable to like go back in time and hear the songs that were like either really popular at the time or hear the songs that were popular because of the show. So do you remember when Apologize by
One Republic?
By One Republic came? I think the first usage of that song was on the show, was on the Hills.
Oh my
when
gosh.
Stop.
they're talking in the club and you know what you did! You know what you did! Apologize comes on in that scene and you're just like, oh my gosh, this became, I think that launched One Republic, and someone can tell me in the comments if I'm wrong or on Twitter, it's fine, but that is what I like so love about this show, and there's other shows like Grey's and a few other shows that really like make hits, but The Hills was known for really churning out some great music and just giving it to us and letting us experience it within the world of Lauren Conrad.
I feel like you're really great at observing things that Susan and I don't notice on the Hills, and we love having another brain in the room with us to talk about these things whilst you sip from your fun koozie.
Have y'all seen Lauren's Perfect Family on Instagram?
Have we?
She posted that the other day, and I had to text Emily and be like, I mean, isn't my family so cute? Like, I claim to be part of that family.
Having met you today officially via Skype, I would claim you as my family. One would be stupid not to. We have plenty of family already. We have a lot of sisters who we're about to go see, but we would love to include you as like a brother.
Well, I so appreciate that, and this has been such a treat. I saw in the preview for the next episode, it reminded me that combat boots come to the beach.
Yes.
And I mean, it's Justin Bobby gave us so much that we did not deserve. We didn't appreciate at the time. So
We didn't. The hits just keep on coming, and all in a good way.
Well, I think to be like people who are in reality shows now can't act like Justin Bobby did with like the deep quotes, and I don't want to say intellectual necessarily, but maybe a little bit like smart in that way. Now it's like, oh, you've got to like hit and get in fights, and that's how you get attention. So I think Justin Bobby was like a rare jewel in the reality TV show world.
Well, and they never would have let him say some of the things that he said if they were trying to make hashtags and get quoted.
Right.
Like,
They didn't know about memes.
no, like you can't workshop truth and time tells all. Like, you can't generate that and feed it to him. Like that came from Justin Bobby's brain, and it's been a gift to the world ever since.
And it's the gift that keeps on giving, because he was just talking the same way to us a couple weeks ago. So if the world hasn't figured it out, we love you, Justin Bobby. We love you, Adam.
Thank you so
guys
much. Thank you so much, Adam, for coming on the podcast. This was awesome. Do you have any plugs to give or anywhere else you want someone to check you out?
No, if you just, like I said, if you have any corrections to some of my commentary, if you want to spar with me about whether or not Lisa Love actually said to Lauren, she's always going to be the girl who didn't go to Paris, you can find me on Twitter at Adam Rucker. That's ADAMRUCKER. Like you said on YouTube, AJRUCK, and also on Instagram, AJRUCK. But thanks so much for having me. This has been such a treat.
Huge treat for us, too.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
You and all your pretty little friends up in the hills where the party never ends. Your schemes and your dreams when you're whole and you're broken. I'm telling all about it in my words unspoken.
We are not normally this discombobulated.
This is great. This is everything I want it to be.
Yay. This is so fun.
It goes, you and all your pretty little...
Dang it. I'm not singing. You're out of your
gonna have to cut this
mind.
all out.